GMGP, good morning, good people. Y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but y'all decided to wake up with us. You're sick. You're sick in the head. There's a lot of fantasy football shows out there, but I promise y'all, they not like us. Brock Bowers, you looked a little quicker than fast. What does that even mean? Redraft, dynasty, best ball, high stakes, we got you covered.
And that's MVS and Justin Watson.
With some of the dopest tools designed to help you cancel out the noise and dominate your leagues.
If there's a white wide receiver named Antoine, sign me up.
Maybe it's cultural. I don't know. In season or off season, rain, sleet, hail, and snow,
comma, semicolon, period, next sentence.
to bring you the most actionable and entertaining content on YouTube. You don't go buy the dip on the Titanic.
Quarterback that you love, D-Bro. One of the best values in fantasy football.
Prop bets with my man Jay Rich.
Yes! Let's go!
So wipe the crust out of your eye, get you a cup of coffee. It's time to wake y'all asses up with Ray
And Jay.
in the morning.
My God.
How good is
Dude.
he? How good is he? Let's get it, GMGP. It is Monday, March 17th, 2025. Y'all decided to wake y'all asses up with myself. Y'all know who it is. My brother from another mother, Jordan Richards. You can find him at your boy Jay Rich. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay. I appreciate each and every eye, each and every ear being in the building on this Monday. What's happening with you, Jimbo? Brian, I see you in the chat. Richie, what's popping with you, baby? Jeff, I see you, Fizzle Dollars. You hear him on the intro. What's popping with you, Fizzle, doing this thing, man? We got a lot to talk about. We got bag talk. We got money. Jamar Chase and Tee Higgins getting the bag. We've got to talk about that. Jim Harbaugh getting a big weapon for his offensive line. We're going to talk through Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. Kirk Cousins staying in Atlanta. We might take a look at a mock draft too, Jay. We might take a look at a mock. I know for a lot of y'all out there with little kids, spring break season is here. So I know how it is. I know how it is at the crib. Jay Rich, how you doing this morning, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Is it spring break this week? I thought it was last week, but
It's this
Depends where
week,
you are,
next
or-
week. It's this cluster of March that
Okay.
spring break exists. Yes, this cluster
Okay,
of March. It's kids home, man.
I wouldn't know, man.
Yeah,
There's-
you don't
the
have those
kids. The
problems.
kids' life is long gone. Thank God for me. I don't know anyone with kids. Well, I do know some people with kids, but they ain't in school yet. So the March
It's a
break
beautiful
stuff
thing,
is.
man. It's a beautiful thing.
Is it? Yeah.
It's
The
a
kids
beautiful
home
thing.
driving you crazy when you're trying to
They
work.
drive you
That's a
crazy,
beautiful
but
thing.
hopefully this show, you know, we do for the people, provides a little entertainment and levity during a very busy time for a lot of the parents out there. But it is a fun time as we are full swing NFL. Full swing NFL, less than 50 days away from the 2025 NFL draft. I'm ready for it to get here. This process it's been fine. I don't think it's been
better than expected, honestly.
It's been better than expected, honestly. I think because there is so little consensus just about anywhere in this draft from top to bottom, I think it has allowed for a more, robust conversation, a bunch of different diverse opinions. Not a lot of infighting this year. I just think it's Shedeur Sanders. But other than that, it's been pretty decent, man. Jay, I'm excited about today. Jamar Chase, Tee Higgins, Joe Burrow, the Bengals. That is the big news, man. So before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel here. Check out all of our other content on DDFFB. Literally fantasy football shit going out just about every single day. So go to DD Fantasy Football. Check that out. Go to the website, join the community, and subscribe to this channel. All our podcast feeds. If you can't make a live event, I know a lot of y'all in here when we do these things on Wednesday nights, Friday nights. Oh, man, I can't be here live. Live in Australia. I live here. Subscribe to the feed. Make sure you stay up to date with everything we're talking about. But let's get right into it, Jay. Let's get right into it. The big news broke last night. Jamar Chase and Tee Higgins staying in place in Cincinnati. Jordan Schultz broke this. Jay, you got the numbers for these two young men.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny because it felt so calculated in the way that Jordan Schultz had his breaking news graphic, exclusive. I wish we could have had Scott on the show because he was hot last night. He was hot.
He was fired
because
up, wasn't he?
of how Schefter and Rappaport and Rossini weren't saying anything about this extension, didn't even acknowledge Schultz's report. But it was very calculated, which was interesting. But yeah, $161 million over 4 years for Jamar Chase and $116 million or $15 million for Tee Higgins, Ray. Both receivers, Jamar Chase, now the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL, and Tee Higgins is the 9th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. Once again, setting a new market for, they're saying wide receiver twos or whatever you want to call it, but he's still a top 10 paid receiver in the league. Speaking more to the likes of Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, and DK Metcalf, I believe is another one who signed those $90 million contracts a few years ago. Going to be looking for extensions, but now we look forward, right? We look forward to Puka's extension, right? And other receivers who got big extensions coming. What do those numbers look like? But the biggest story, obviously, is the Bengals are keeping Tee Higgins. They're keeping Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase all together, and they're paying them a lot of money.
A lot of money.
So how do you feel about these signings? It sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. And how the hell are they going to do anything but score points next season?
So a lot of people are talking about, Jay, right now, they have built or they're building or investing in their team the same way that Indianapolis did with Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison, right?
I've heard those are bad comparisons, though.
I'm just bringing it up, and we could talk about if they're good or bad. The difference that I'm hearing or reading is Indianapolis, they spent 15% of their cap on that core. It was 16% of the cap. Right here, we're talking about 25% of the cap.
It's a lot more, yeah.
Yeah, invested. So it's not exactly the same, but you have kept together a cast of receivers for your MVP caliber quarterback. Yeah, they paid that APR. They paid the interest on Chase. Absolutely. I mean, he got $250,000 more than Myles Garrett. I think it's Jamar Chase, highest non-paid quarterback in NFL history, followed by Myles Garrett. And then you've got Max Crosby right after that. Jamar's earned his due. Jamar's earned his pay. Tee Higgins has also earned his pay. Let's start with Jamar, though. 161, 112 guaranteed. Any issue with this deal at all, or move on?
Absolutely not.
I'm with
Jamar
you, right?
Chase. Jamar Chase has always been the receiver who's worth every penny. You could have paid him $200 million, it wouldn't matter. It'd be a lot, but it still wouldn't matter because he will be worth that value. The number one question is, of course, Tee Higgins, right? And there was reports of $28 million, $30 million, $32 million. I believe this number falls at $31 million overall for him.
I think it could get up to $30 million with guaranteed incentives. I believe. I'm not sure. I thought it was incentives that could get his contract, his annual AAV over $30 million.
Yeah, but this is a guy who doesn't play a lot of games, right? And that's the biggest problem.
I was going to pull up his numbers. I was going to pull up his stats. So here's Tee Higgins' career numbers, right? Last year, 12 games. The year before that, 12 games, 16, 14, 16 in his rookie season. His best statistical season, well, it probably would have been this year, but he didn't. He only played 12 games. But 1,091 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 74 receptions.
It's not good. It's fine. Like per game, it's good. So here, let me just add further context for people, because this is probably where it gets the most interesting, right? 4 receivers, when you compare them to Tee Higgins, here are the 4 receivers: DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. Those 4 receivers average playing 91% of their games, right? Tee Higgins has played 70%. 8.6 receiving targets per game. Tee Higgins at 7.7. Then you go to yards. These receivers average right around 84 yards a game. DK Metcalf is the lowest at 67. Tee Higgins is only at 65 receiving yards a game. So it's like in every facet, Tee Higgins is like 20% worse on average than pretty much all of these receivers outside of Metcalf, who his profile is a little bit closer to. Metcalf got obviously 3 for 1 or 5 for 150 because he's a younger receiver. But these older guys, like Ayuk is the best comparison because Ayuk plays games, he's very effective, and he's dynamic, and Higgins doesn't play games. And when he is in the lineup, he's not as good as some of the other players, mainly because Jamar Chase is so good. So it's tough to say, like, the Bengals needed him because Burrow needed him, because Chase needed him, and because they really did force the hand by Tee Higgins switching agents to be the same agent as Jamar Chase, and then the agent went and sold them a package deal that they basically had to accept, right? Or both would have been gone. But on face value, it is a lot, and you just hope that they can make it work from a team perspective, right? Because that's the thing is that, yes, I want these guys to get paid, but like, I still want them to be good too. I want the team to be good. I don't want the team to go through the same thing they had this past season with the bad defense simply because they wanted to pay their wide receiver 2 like a wide receiver 1, and their number 1 wide receiver is the best receiver in football.
You know, we sat on here the other day, though, and talked about how bullshit it was that they double franchise tag Tee Higgins, and now he got paid.
Yeah.
Is he deserving? Let me just ask you this, without looking at any numbers, and I want the chat, holler at us right now in the comments, right? Without looking at any numbers, I don't want any advanced metrics. Do you believe that Tee Higgins is the best Robin in the NFL? Do you think he's the best wide receiver 2 in the NFL? Just do a quick scan of the teams. Think of the 32 teams. I'll just throw some other names out there to help you think through it. You got Pickens in Pittsburgh. You got
top
Devontae
3,
Smith.
probably.
Who would be in there? Who else would be?
It's Waddle. It's at one time it was kind of like Metcalf or JSN, depending on how you look at it that way, right? Then you could say Pickens if you want. He's not even close for me. I think the question is, do you think he's better than Smitty? And I would say no. I don't think he's better than Smitty. I think Smitty is a much better wide receiver than Tee Higgins. I think he's more versatile. I think he's more talented. Maybe you think Higgins can score more touchdowns, and that's absolutely true. But Smitty does it in an offense that runs the ball a lot. And he still puts up numbers that are comparable to Tee Higgins. Imagine what Smitty would do in a Bengals offense. He'd probably put up 1,300 yards a year because he's healthy, he's available, and he's really damn good. And I think you could maybe make the case for Waddle, but again, not injury concerns. But I think Waddle is really good. He's just not thought of in that light because he has struggled the past few seasons. But I think the battle is between Tee Higgins and Smitty, for sure.
This is an unfair one. I'm just throwing...
Godwin is a good one, actually, as well. I like Godwin.
Somebody said Godwin?
Chris Godwin, yeah. Like, older, but he's fucking good, man. Like, Chris Godwin's really good.
Jeff said, I would say T is. I feel like he is injured more than others, though. I'm just throwing names out. I'm not saying that these are names better than T, but I want to get the creative juices flowing a little bit. Either of the Kansas City receivers, either of the 2 Kansas City receivers, whichever one you think is the one in that offense, Xavier
I'd
Worthy
say Rice is probably the run.
Rice
if you're telling me Rice is the 2, then I'd say there's a real case there. But I mean, if they're both healthy, like Rashee Rice is probably the better receiver in the offense, right? And then at that point, I'd say Worthy is better than Higgins is better than Worthy.
Listen, I personally believe that Smith I'd rather have Devontae Smith over Tee Higgins, but I can't really make an argument for T not being the best complementary receiver next to a number 1. I can't make a strong... The only argument people will make is his availability, that he's not there all the time, and that's a fair criticism.
Absolutely.
That's a fair criticism, but when he's on the field and playing, he can do just about everything. He can attack down the field. He's good, short, intermediate. Joe Burrow trusts him. There's that synergy and chemistry there. Maybe Godwin, but shit,
can I give you one for 1 year?
You said what?
Can I give you one for 1 year?
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel.
No, I'll take T over Deebo. 1 year.
Because you got McLaurin, right?
Yeah, I'll take T over Deebo. I see.
But yeah, the problem is, I think Adams. But you're again, 1 year.
That's not a good comparison because you're not paying Adams $100 million right now. So
Darnell Mooney or Tee Higgins.
That's
tough with how good.
I think this is the one right here. Kanja has it. Jameson Williams or Tee Higgins.
I would take Tee Higgins.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not someone who's going to buy in too heavily to JMO in this new offense, whatever it's going to be. I do think that they did a fantastic job scheming plays up for him, and he is a good receiver. But I mean, is he much different than Jalen Waddle? Like in the NFL, at least, I think they kind of do similar things. I think Waddle's is probably a little bit better.
I don't think we know. I mean, JMO just hadn't played any. This was his first year really playing.
But that's why we're not putting him over Higgins, right? Like it's a fair discussion. And maybe he can catch lightning and be really, really good, but I think he kind of profiles like Waddle, and we're not saying that Waddle's better than Tee Higgins.
Jamie said, "Can we consider Romo Dunze?" Nah, because I feel like he's more of they're going to try to prioritize him as a 1 than a complete. I don't think DJ Moore is particularly good right now. So I think Rome Odunze might have a chance to usurp him this season. Ultimately, T got paid because T's good. When he's on the field, he's been dominant for the last 5 years since they drafted him in 2020. So
yeah,
this is the going rate. This is the going rate, and that's what Cincy gets for fucking tagging him for 2 years. Now you got to pay him. Great for Joe Burrow. What does Cincinnati do from here? Now, I did see reports that these contracts actually lowered their cap this year, so they have a little additional money to spend in free agency to build that defense up. Looks like the draft, you can kind of kill all those mocks that have a receiver going to Cincinnati in round 1 or a tight end going to Cincinnati in round 1. I don't think they're drafting any damn tight end in round 1. They're not taking a damn receiver in the first round. It's probably going to be defense. And they still have one of the best defensive players in the NFL in limbo right now with his contract with Trey Hendrickson, which a lot of people think that with this deal, they're actually going to get something done with Hendrickson.
Yeah, no, that's one of the biggest dominoes that needs to fall and I think this is where it gets more interesting for Cincy, is if they do get the Trey Hendrickson deal done, I think they could be incentivized to maybe trade down from 17 to even into the second round. So the good thing is they have all their picks, but they're 7th rounder right now. So they're in pretty good shape there. But you trade down from the first, maybe you get a 2nd, 4th, and a 6th or something. I don't know exactly what the numbers were from 17.
Yeah.
But you then have enough picks to really add that depth. And I think in a class like this where they're probably looking at D-line, maybe they're looking at linebacker, they're probably looking to the secondary as well. Like, while you could take a maybe slightly higher end player at 17, you could probably get someone pretty comparable in the 40s, 50s, and you still have your pick at 49 to get an additional player as well. So I think it would be possible for them to be in a great trade down spot at 17, accrue some more assets, and help build out that defense. Because obviously offensively, they're not going to need much. But signing Henderson is massive because I think that makes that choice to trade down a little bit easier than taking, like, they have Michael Williams to them on
Michael
right now.
Or Shamar Stewart or...
Yeah, if Stewart's there or if Mike Green somehow is there and gets past Atlanta, right? Like, I think there is some options there, but maybe you could get a similar type of player, but more assets at, 40 or 50, just kind of later on in the draft.
Well, let's real quick, for the fantasy football people out there, you got to feel damn good about your Burrows, about your Tee Higginses. Knowing what you know today and 5 years of Tee Higgins playing ball, would you use this opportunity to trade for Tee Higgins, or would you use this opportunity in new contract to trade Tee Higgins away? And I just want to know, would you be comfortable trading him away for any of the rookie wide receivers in this class? Any of them. Tet, Golden, Egbuka, Burden, Tee Higgins versus the 2025 wide receivers. Who do you think outproduces, not just this year, but over the next 2, 3, we're not going 5 years from now, next couple of years, would you bet on one of the rookie wide receivers or Tee Higgins in his current environment and situation in Cincinnati?
I personally would bet on Tee Higgins. And it's not because necessarily of the ceiling, but he's going to give you a really solid floor. And especially now, Ray, the way these contracts are constructed, it's not like we expect them to have a good defense anytime soon. They're going to work on it. They're going to draft players. Yeah, they're going to do their best, right? But they've told you their plan. Their plan is to give the ball to number 9, and his job is to go and win every game. And now it's T's job to help him. It's Shamar's job to help him. It's Gesicki's job to help him. But I think we're going to see a lot more of what we've seen the past couple seasons from the Bengals, and especially with how strapped they are financially now, even more so the reason why they're going to have to go out and do that. Like, it's going to be very difficult to build the defense under these type of restrictions. Yes, the cap will continue to go up and they'll get a little bit more space that way. But I think the next 2 years could be very tough. And so, again, you talked about it. T could have had his best season. He had double-digit touchdowns in 12 games. So that alone tells you that he's very valuable to this offense and kind of still will continue to be. And as much as I like Tet, maybe he's got a slightly higher ceiling, but I'm not going to bet on him going to a good situation and being good. I can just bet on Tee Higgins being good for his contract. And while his value may diminish over time, he's getting older, his production will probably still hold quite well.
Yeah. Good for T. Good for Burrow. And good for the next group of wide receivers coming up that have to get paid. I know Puka Nacua is licking his damn chops right now looking at these contracts. I know he's looking at it. The real question is, which one of these big dogs is going to be the first one to get another extension on top of the shit that they already have? You know, CD, luckily that got done.
CD and Higgins, thank God, right?
CD got done, $34 million a year. But I think ultimately, you can find now a big problem with Cincinnati that I've heard is their scouting department is about the size of what we got at damn Destination Devy, about 4 or 5 people in the scouting department. And that might work for our business model, but that sure as hell doesn't work for $1 billion industry like the NFL. They've got to draft well. They've got to draft right. You look at what Cincinnati's done through free agency, bringing in Samaje Perine, getting Mike Gesicki back, getting their wide receivers in place. Jay, I think the offensive set is set. It's going to be Chase Brown as the lead dog. They might spend a late pick on a running back because I think all 32 teams should draft a running back this year. They're so good and they're so freaking cheap. You take a 6th round Devin Neal in Cincinnati and you pair him with Chase Brown and Samaje Perine. You build a running back room for less than $5 million. I think that is the way, unless you are truly a Saquon Barkley away from winning, Jay. But let's talk about another big move that we didn't get a chance to discuss. Another big move we didn't get a chance to discuss.
There's some breaking news, actually, if you want to touch on that.
We got some breaking news now? What do we have?
We have Derek Stingley getting paid 3 years, $90 million extension from the Texans.
Hold on. Stingley?
Yeah,
Stingley,
big Derek Stingley. I don't know how he's being paid.
Whoa. Hold on, man.
What an ad. What an ad. Let's go. Go to Rappaport.
Hold on, Sting. I'm trying to get that flower off the screen. Here it is right here. Record deal. All-pro quarterback Derek Stingley, 3-year, $90 million extension,
Fully
$89 guaranteed, $30 base value per year. Highest paid DB in NFL history. Didn't this just get reset? Didn't damn Carolina
I thought
J.C. Horn.
J.C. Horn, but J.C. Horn's guaranteed money must have been less because he got a fully guaranteed contract essentially. Like there's 89 of 90 guaranteed. And I think that's what he's more getting at is that the guaranteed money is higher than anyone else because I think J.C. Horn's contract was 4 years for 100 and it was like 78 million guaranteed.
Okay.
I forget what what's the guy I'm thinking? I forget what Surtain's contract was. I think it was another 4-year, $100 million deal.
I don't know what Pat's
was.
I don't know what PS2's was. I don't remember.
But that's a big contract. And the funny thing about these 3-year deals now, Ray, is I'm pretty sure it's either 3 years from now or 4 years from now. That's when the cap's going to jump again from the TV deal, man. Yeah.
You think they're dumb how they negotiate this? David Maletta is not an idiot. Let's get you paid now. What's Stingley, like 25 years old, 26? So he's going to get another deal. Man. He's going to get another deal. Yeah. Incredible cornerback, LSU product, well worthy of the number 3 overall pick. Good stuff for Houston. Listen, man, we talked about this on Bleach Report. For those of y'all who don't know, Jay Rich and I, we're contracted with them for the year. So every Thursday, Jay, I'm not going to be there this Thursday as well. I'll be in Mexico. Just FYI, you got to do the show solo this week at BR. Just FYI. And you can find the playlist in the channel. But we talked about Houston and CJ Stroud being a loser early after free agency, right? I think most people believe that CJ Stroud is a little bit of a loser today in the short term. But man, they got a shit ton of picks. Their defense is built up. I think long term, the loss of those offensive linemen, trading Laramie Tunsil for the right now in the immediate doesn't feel good. But if they can manipulate these picks the right way, they got a lot of assets to move around, upgrade that offensive line. Yeah. Defensively, they're set with D'Amico. I trust what they're doing. It might be a little painful and a little rocky to start. New OC, new O-line, but with the capital, I think they're going to be okay. So great move by the Houston Texans, getting Stingley locked up to secure that defense. Jerry, what do you think about the move, this strategic deal? Looks like a 3-year deal, but ultimately I think it's like a 1-year deal. We didn't get a chance to talk about it. But your boy, Slinging Sammy, Sam Darnold.
Slinging Sammy.
Slinging Sammy. I like that. Out there in Seattle, it is a 3-year sham
deal. He should be
deal.
slinging fish at the market.
It's a 1-year deal, but it looks like a 3-year deal. Sam Darnold is now at the helm in Seattle. How are we feeling about slinging Sammy in Seattle, Jay Rich?
I got to be honest. I feel a lot worse about it after this report than when it was initially signed. Okay. Like this is where it's pretty funny, man, because there was this robust market apparently for Sam Darnold, and he obviously shat his pants in primetime 2 weeks in a row. And then everyone was like, I don't know about that Sam Darnold anymore.
That Thor Nystrom doesn't like that Sam Darnold either, does he? That Thor Nystrom
is beefing everybody these days.
Sammy back in Minnesota, but go ahead.
But he's got no receivers. He's got no offensive line.
He's got Jackson Smith and Jigba. And he's got Cooper Kupp. What are you talking about?
We're doing a show, man.
Okay.
We'll get there.
All right.
The offensive line is bad. Yes, they did sign Cooper Kupp 3 years, $45 million. I believe it was a year and a half guaranteed. Yep. But even still, this idea that you go from Geno to Sam Darnold, you bring in Clint Kubiak, who used to be on the Vikings staff, and I get all of that. But you didn't even have the actual faith to sign him for even a year and a half. Even Baker's deal was
You're talking about Darnold. You're talking about Sam Darnold's deal. It is a 1-year contract.
It is a legit 1-year prove it deal. Yes. And then what are you going to do, Seattle? You going to move on?
I have not.
It makes no
sense. I haven't understood.
It makes no sense. And for fantasy, this is more so where I'm I have zero faith in investing in Sam Darnold at this point. If I could trade him for a second-round pick, I probably would. If I could trade him for a first, I absolutely would. There's just no reason why you should have any faith he's going to be the quarterback even at 6 or 7 weeks into the year, other than the fact that he's being paid $37.5 million. If it wasn't for that, he could be benched because he's probably not going to be that good. And I don't believe in Clint Kubiak. I think he's trash, honestly. But they got Cooper Kupp. They got JSN. Who's going to play in the slot? That's a great question, Ray. Do you have any thoughts on Cooper Kupp and JSN and how they're going to operate together in the Seattle offense?
I don't know. I don't know. I do believe that the ground game is going to be an emphasis in Seattle. I do believe what they're saying about running the ball, establishing it with Kenneth Walker. Zach Charbonnet still on the roster. I think there was some chatter about him potentially being on the block.
Okay.
I don't know, man. They signed Cooper Kupp. We know Jackson Smith and Jigba. He operates out of the slot, but he can go downfield he can stretch the field from the slot. Cooper Kupp, in my opinion, seemed to be on his last legs last year. That's what it seemed like to me. I'll be very curious to see how that chemistry develops with Sam Darnold. He had crazy chemistry with Matthew Stafford. I mean, they were in sync, literally. So how are they going to develop that? And who does Sam Darnold develop that chemistry with? Is it going to be JSN? Yeah. Is it going to be Cooper Kupp? I don't believe what's going to happen is we come out the gate and both of those guys are just smashing. With Sam Darnold, the offensive line is a problem. Every time we do a mock draft, Seattle faithful, they tell me, Ray, interior offensive line. And here's what I said on the last mock. If you ain't pull up last Friday night, and I'm going to start doing it, Jay. I think I'm liking the GEGP. So I think Wednesday nights, Monday nights, Friday nights, we go live. We talk some NFL draft. Seahawks fans tell me interior offensive line. Let me tell you something right now. If a fan base who most of the times all they want is offensive guys, right? I want a receiver, corner, running back. When they're screaming for a guard or a center, it's a fucking problem, man. Nobody is asking to draft. Nobody is saying, please draft a center or a guard in round one unless you know your team is so decrepit at that spot that you've got to fill it. And that's all they talk about, right?
Have you watched Seattle play, Ray? Do you know how many fumbled snaps and bad snaps? They had a terrible interior offensive line.
The fans tell me, dude, we need interior offensive line in the worst way. I want to see what they do. And I've loved what Minnesota's been able to do, not paying Sam Darnold that money. I think the Vikings, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the New England Patriots, early throughout this free agency period have absolutely crushed it. I love what Minnesota's doing. I'm just going to ask you, I'm going to throw it out there. Are you buying into any of the Aaron Rodgers to Minnesota rumors? Don't have goddamn Thor under this channel going crazy, dropping his stuff. What do you think, though? And I'll be on a show with him and Pat Mayo a little later today doing a mock. What do you think about that, Aaron Rodgers and the Vikings and them not shutting it down right now? No one has really shut it down outside of Thor. What do you think about that, man? Rodgers and the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it definitely seems like Rodgers is more interested in the Vikings than the Vikings are in him. But
that's what it seems like.
It's the media wants to push the narrative that maybe there's a chance and there's discussions, and Thor's beefing with Diana Rossini about it because she reported that there is this talks going on internally as to whether Rodgers could be a good fit for the team. And I honestly think it's just bullshit, man. Like, it makes, for everything they've done to this point, it would make absolutely zero sense to go and pay Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Like,
it just doesn't make
like
sense.
$1 million, which he's not going to be. And even if he was, stunting the development of J.J. McCarthy makes absolutely no sense. But, the media wants to run with the story. All right, it will be resolved. When it's resolved, maybe they will end up being right. But yeah, I firmly believe that is not going to be the case. And I believe on Polymarket today, or maybe it was yesterday that Benjamin Albright posted it, it's actually the odds of him going to Minnesota are below him retiring on Polymarket.
Oh, God. Okay.
So, pretty much puts it to bed.
Well, Minnesota did trade. They did make a trade, and they went and got a running back. Jordan Mason.
They did.
From the San Francisco 49ers. I'm still thinking NFC West. Jordan Mason takes his talents from San Francisco to Minnesota to complement Aaron Jones. I like the move for the Vikings. I think this definitely takes them any kind of hopium mock draft where Travion Henderson was in round 1 or a running back was in round 3. I think those dreams are dead. I don't think with the type of capital that they have, they're going to spend any first or third round pick on a running back. So talk about Jordan Mason's fit in Minnesota. And again, Jay, they invested in the defensive front through free agency. I believe they upgraded the offensive line position. They upgraded the running back spot. You've got one of the best pass catching rooms in the NFL. Talk about a situation primed up for a young rookie quarterback, essentially, to succeed. I love this Minnesota landing spot. And I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, J.J. McCarthy is a stone cold lock to smash in the NFL. No fucking clue, right? But, man, dude, you can't ask for a better setup, situation, coach, complement of weapons than what Minnesota currently has right now.
Oh, Ray, don't do it. Don't do it, man. You're building it up. You're rolling it back last season to May 2024 when Caleb Williams had the best cast of weapons we've ever seen for a rookie quarterback.
That was that USC homerism took a hold of me.
But
man.
To be fair, yeah, you brought up the guard they signed, Will Fries, who's a great guard from Indianapolis, one of the top guards in free agency, and was paid like one. He got paid like $90 million. They obviously have the outside help at receiver. They now brought in Jordan Mason and extended him to a 2-year, $7 million deal, or $7 million guaranteed, 12 overall if he fulfills the full contract. So like, this is surprising only because they brought back Aaron Jones, and I think that. But Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones are a great pairing of running backs.
I like it.
And they've been constantly trying to find a good complement to Jones. They brought in Cam Akers. They've tried out a few different guys.
Akers was all right. You know what? Akers was okay in limited duty, but not long term.
He was fine. Yeah. He was fine, right? But the problem was they had to go trade for him. Yeah. And now they went out and said, okay, forget all that stuff. We're bringing in a competent back that we believe in, that we like, who can run the system. I think Mason can do just that. So I like him and Jones together. I'd be curious how their splits could work and whether they kind of eat into each other too much. But for JJ, it's great. Both of them catch passes. Both of them are great runners of the football. And then obviously the weapons outside, the play caller, offensive line upgrade. He's set up for success, absolutely, in 2025.
All right. What else did we have? Anything else from Rodgers?
Well, you wanted to talk about from Rodgers? Nah, we're just... No. The funny thing about Rodgers is like, it's really just if he goes to the Giants, like what do the Steelers do? Because that's more the
dude. I mean, you're asking if he goes
timeline.
To the Giants, what do the Steelers do? If he goes to the Steelers, what do the Giants do?
Well, the Giants will probably sign Russ, right? They had the meeting with Russ last week. Dude. I don't know if you saw anything about like I've seen zero details about the meetings in Cleveland
saw
or
nothing.
in New York.
Nothing.
So we know that they met. For anyone who missed that story, Russ did fly to Cleveland, met with them on Thursday, and then flew to New York and met with the Giants on Friday. But I've seen zero reports as to how the meetings went, whether they're interested, honestly, really anything about that. But the reason why Rodgers to the Giants is funnier is because it doesn't seem like the Steelers want Russ back. They already re-signed Mason Rudolph signed Mason Rudolph to a 2-year, $8 million deal. So that maybe could be their quarterback. But yeah, it's very interesting to see what could happen. And then I don't know if you've seen, if Rodgers does go to the Steelers, it could be Russ. And there's been reports of Jameis and Flacco as well. Baltimore League neighbors in New York, which is pretty funny.
Listen, man, we're gonna talk about it. There are a lot of people thinking this and that about this quarterback class, and we're gonna look at a mock here in a little bit and just talk through some of the spots and what we're hearing and what we're feeling, what we're thinking. Not necessarily re-mock it or grading or mock, but talking through. So many things have changed post free agency. A lot of stuff has changed just from what we were doing at the beginning of the month till right now, and I think it deserves a conversation to just talk through that. If you pull it up in here, hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube, and go over there if you're watching on X and do the same thing. Jay, one more before we go to the break, and then we'll come back and talk through some of these rookies, potential landing spots. One of the big quarterback, I won't say big quarterbacks, but a big name quarterback who people were thinking could impact where these landing spots for the rookies was Kirk Cousins. With the Atlanta Falcons, they're holding on to him. I mean, Kirk Cousins, unless there's some type of trade, Jay, he's going to be on the Falcons roster this year with Michael Penix. So this idea and this thought that he was going to Cleveland, at least today, seems like it might not be coming to fruition for teams potentially interested in Kirk Cousins.
I absolutely love it.
Absolutely
love it.
Okay.
I think it's hilarious that Kirk tried to force his way out of Atlanta, even though he's being paid a shit ton of money to do nothing. Like, that to me is hilarious. Dude, you were awful. You sucked. We drafted your replacement. Sit your ass on the bench. We're still going to pay you because we gave you a guaranteed contract. Like, I understand it from a financial perspective. It sounds so stupid for Atlanta to do it. But when there's no takers, it's like, you know what, Kirk?
But he's got a no
sit down and shut up.
He's got a no trade clause. He's got a no trade clause.
Does he have a no trade in this contract?
He's got a no trade. So, I mean, both of them have to be willing to play ball. Like, both of them have to say, I want to do this, and Atlanta's got to say, we want to do this. If I'm Cousins,
but they said they don't want to, man. They literally told them to shut up, sit down, you're being paid, be the backup.
You think this impacts Penix at all in any way, shape, or form? Do you think this puts any pressure on him? If things don't go well early, does it give Atlanta more incentive or whatever to pull him? I mean, it's weird because you got this $100 million quarterback who looks like he's going to be on the roster at least until 2026. And then you got the top 10 pick. I don't know what Atlanta's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the funny thing is that if the organization is smart and competent, which for Atlanta, I mean, with the contract, that's saying a lot. But it shouldn't have pressure on Penix. They should just let him do his thing, good or bad, live with the results, because that's what's best for your franchise. Benching Penix puts you in that Bryce Young paradox, right? And let's be honest, if Kirk Cousins is even decent second year off the Achilles injury, he's probably better than Andy Dalton was when Andy Dalton filled in for Bryce Young. Yeah. Right? So I think that's where, if you're making this decision, you're keeping him to be the backup. Maybe there's a world where he plays if Penix gets hurt. But if Penix plays poorly, I think you'd have to play pretty poorly for him to get benched. It's not impossible, but I think if you're doing the smart thing, it's pretty unlikely.
See, and this is Howie R. Bears, what's up with you? What's popping? This is the theory that I don't quite agree with. Kirk Cousins traded after the draft. Price goes up after the draft.
You're not getting any money. You're not getting anything for him.
Paying more for him after the draft.
He's not taking a pay cut. Like, he's still making $40 million this year.
Yeah.
He's getting paid more than Sam Darnold. He's getting paid more than Geno Smith right now because he hasn't been extended yet. Like, he's being paid more than a lot of very talented quarterbacks that are healthy and didn't look like ass last year.
Yeah, I think during the draft maybe, but Like
he's worth a 6th or 7th rounder at best.
Good. He looked like shit last year. I don't care. This is not an indictment on his career or what he's been or what he's accomplished, but just watching him play football last year, he looked bad. That's why he got benched. Like that's why he got benched. He looked awful. His arm strength was poor. Outside of a couple game stretch, like I don't know why anybody would be clamoring to bring Kirk Cousins into the building, Jay. But
he's Deebo Samuel, but worse because he's got a much higher contract, much higher. Yeah, like everyone shat on the Deebo Samuel trade for a 5th. Like, what do you think Kirk Cousins is going to go for? He's been costing teams $40 million. There's no shaking that. And Atlanta's not going to want to eat that deal.
Ridley Truth, he said, for Judy's sake, having a finally decent season, wish Browns could go after the cuz. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It's better to draft Shedeur than
maybe
do that.
the TVs down in Dallas, Texas showed a different version of Kirk Cousins. They showed the Washington Commanders or the Washington football team version of Kirk Cousins. But the guy that I saw in Atlanta last year, I think y'all are a little bit delusional on this Monday morning. I'm good on that situation and that quarterback. And I think Myles Garrett might be good on that situation and that quarterback. And we're going to talk about that interview and watch that and listen to old Myles Garrett talk here in a minute. But one more big free agent signing, and I'm at the head coach. You didn't see a bigger smile on his face than after Mekhi Becton taking his talents from the world champ Philadelphia Eagles. Jay Rich, he was a first-round pick of the Jets, goes to Philly. They kick him inside from tackle to guard. They win a Super Bowl, and big Mekhi Becton is taking his talents to Los Angeles with Jim Harbaugh. And did you see the picture? Did you see the picture of Harbaugh looking at Look at this, Jay. Look at him. Look at him smiling at him like, man, this big bastard right here is about to keep my quarterback upright, open up holes and lanes for Najee Harris. Mekhi Becton is a Los Angeles Charger, 2-year deal. Jay Rich, what do you think about this move?
It's unreal for the Chargers. You got 6'7" Mekhi Becton standing next to 6'6" Joe Alt on the right side. Oh. I think you should easily project that right side to be very strong when it comes to run blocking and all that stuff. Like, it's a very good fit for the Chargers. They desperately needed another big offensive lineman, and they went on and got a guy who, again, another former first rounder, Ray, moving. There was a lot of former first rounders moving this free agent cycle, but Mekhi Becton definitely showed his value at guard. Didn't work out at tackle, but I think he'll be a fine guard for the Chargers for the next couple of years.
Yeah, nice move, man. And these are those moves that they don't directly, it's not like a running back or a receiver, but that offensive line, I believe they led the league in offensive line combinations last year, and we know their offensive front was not good. You bring in Najee. I mean, Najee's got to be held. I know he's not the most efficient running back, but he's dependable, and he's a tank. And he's at 1,000 yards every single season of his career.
Played every game.
I think we get a rebound. He's home in Cali. He's back where he's from. I think we get a good season out of Najee this year. I'm not going to say to the moon, Luke. I'm not going to say to the moon, but we're flying. We're at cruising altitude right now. We are at cruising altitude in the sky. I like what the Chargers are doing, and I am optimistic about Najee's outlook this year. I want to see what else they add. You got Kamani Vidal from last year. I wonder if they go a different type of running back, day 3 of Brashard Smith out of SMU, to get a complimentary running back like that. Maybe a Bashel Tuten. I would love to see what they do and add to this backfield, but you got to be excited about Najee, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Someone brought in the chat, they signed their center Bozeman. They re-signed him as well.
Right.
He was on the team last year. And they brought in Mike Williams, which, I mean, who really cares about that? We talked about that on BR like Wednesday or whatever it was. But this is good for everyone involved. Like, the Chargers need to have an upgraded offensive line. We knew they were making strides when they drafted Joe Alt initially in the draft last year, and now they're once again trying to fortify it more.
Rashawn
it's a
Slater
very
a couple
young
of years ago. Slater a couple of years ago.
It's a very young offensive line, very young, and I think they're only going to be better next year. So very excited for the Chargers, Justin Herbert, and everyone involved.
All right, Jay, let's hit the break. Y'all run it up, hit that thumbs up button, like the content when we get back. We're going to talk through Cleveland. We're going to take a look at a mock, talk through some of these new landing spot situations, how some of this free agent news and these movement of players will impact stuff in April. We appreciate y'all being here. We'll be right back after the break. Appreciate y'all being in the building. This is Wake Up with Ray and Jay every single Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Over here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed. Wake Up. You can do that on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast feeds at. And then our other channel where it's all things fantasy football, DD Fantasy Football, or you can put in at DDFFB. Content all the time. I believe, Jay, Dynasty Theory, I think the crew's going live tonight. Are they going live tonight?
Yeah, they're going live tonight. They're doing some trade stuff. They're talking through some trade values and such. And they're doing that. And then Scott dropped a piece this morning. For anyone who hasn't seen it yet, it dropped at 8 a.m. But he's talking about NFL draft pick war and rookie war, essentially, as it relates to the 25 draft class. So he's doing a series on that. Part 1 dropped today, and there's another part dropping next week on Monday as well. Those are both already scheduled and ready to go. But yeah, so check that out. Should be very, very good. I watched some of it last night, and Scott is providing very good actual information. And of course, you can find a lot of what he talks about on ddfantasyfootball.com with the war graphs and the charts and such like that. So go check that out if you want even more information after watching Scott's video.
I have my fantasy baseball draft tonight. Wish me luck. Fantasy baseball feels like it is stressful.
Fantasy baseball is sick, man.
Is it fun? It's fun?
Yeah. Baseball starts today or tomorrow.
I'm excited for baseball this year.
Baby.
I was at a tournament all weekend, man. My son, y'all know. If y'all been here long enough, y'all know. Another championship, man. Fucking got another tournament win this weekend, dude. He's last year of 8U. It's kid pitch after this, Jay Rich. It's kid pitch. Real strikes and walks and balls and real baseball, man. I'm loving it. Jay, everybody was talking about Cleveland. What they're going to do? Cleveland, Kirk Cousins. Let's listen to the man, Myles Garrett. You want to listen to what Myles said in an interview with Andrew Siciliano? Let's listen to Myles Garrett. Let's listen.
In all seriousness, do you know who the quarterback's going to be? I mean, do you have an idea?
After conversations, I do have an idea.
Okay. Do you like the idea?
I like it enough to be here smiling in front of you because I think we have a good chance of that happening and making the most out of it.
Can you tell us who it is, Myles?
You know I can't do that.
All right, Jay Rich. That was Myles Garrett in an interview with Andrew Siciliano, and he says he has a good idea of what they're going to do at quarterback. There was a zoom in, a grin from the $40 million man, and the Cleveland Browns currently sit at number 2. All odds are that Cam Ward is going to go number 1 overall, whether that be to the Giants, to the Titans. Hell, I don't know who trades up to number 1, but all odds are pointing to Cam Ward going number 1 overall.
Yeah.
Cleveland Browns are on the clock at 2. The quarterbacks, I don't think it's Russell Wilson. It's not Aaron Rodgers. It's not Joe Flacco. It's not Jameis Winston. I'm asking you right now, what are they doing? Because you put this in the show notes that your antennas and radars are going up for a certain quarterback out of Colorado.
I mean, so let's just set the record for why this is so confusing, right? Because we thought there was a chance it could be in on Sanders. But Myles didn't want to resign. Then he resigns. You're like, okay, but like, what's the plan? Like, nothing changed. There was no new information. And now Myles Garrett signing this massive contract. And then this interview comes out and he's like, yeah, I think I know who the quarterback's going to be. And he's just grinning his ass off. And you're like, okay, that's weird. Because every mock, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, sometimes Shedeur Sanders. But it's not that often that you get there with Shedeur. But that grin, Ray, that look.
That grin got you?
Certainness makes me think that maybe there's a chance Shedeur Sanders goes at 2. And that's very good for me. But I can't help but think, what if it is like trade for Kirk in the middle of the season? Or like,
stop, man.
Trade, like sign Russ or bring back Jameis, who Myles Garrett really likes or something.
If you're going off of the grin, you think Myles Garrett's fucking grinning for Russell Wilson? You think he's smiling and secretive for Russell Wilson, for Kirk Cousins? Hell, and I'm going to say this because I have rid myself from fantasy football content creators. I try to just keep them on the sidelines, and I'm tapped in We've been blessed with some amazing opportunities and some good connections. The NFL seems to like Shedeur Sanders not be nearly as concerned about him as some people who have what feels like very personal biases and animosity. It does not seem like this at all. I mean, everywhere I'm looking, like they're like, dude, he's an accurate quarterback. Like, what are we talking about here? He's the most polished one. He's the most accurate one. You cannot like his dad. You cannot like this. You cannot like him holding up his wristwatch, you old fuck. But to sit here and say he can't throw the ball, I'm not buying that. And it doesn't seem like anybody outside of Dane Brugler and a couple other people who want to mock him in the second round, like, it doesn't feel like that right now. So I'm asking you again, and there was somebody, I can't forget his name, but they just said, like, when did this Grand Canyon-sized gap materialize between Cam Ward and Shedeur when nothing has changed from the end of the season? When did this gap where he's that much better than everybody else, when did that happen?
I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but but that's something that I brought up on this show a lot. Like, I tell you this almost every week. Consistently, Sanders continues to slip in the chance to be the number one quarterback. And that to me is an indication that there is a sizable gap, right? And whether it's for the Giants or whether it's for the Titans, the two teams right now pegged to be potentially in line to pick at number one, and you've even acknowledged this, Cam Ward is the guy and has been the guy, honestly, since the combine, right? So we're going on almost 2 weeks where we've been pretty sure that Cam Ward is going to go number one and he's probably going to go to the Titans. But at 2, right, you have Abdul Carter, number 1, to be the first non-quarterback, which is surprising because that would put him at Cleveland unless Cleveland goes quarterback. And I almost want to bet Travis Hunter to be the first non-quarterback because he's like almost plus 300. And I think that if you're signing Myles Garrett to this massive deal, why are you then going to go out and draft Abdul Carter? It's very interesting to me. But if you have no quarterback and you view Travis Hunter as a wide receiver, which Cleveland said that they do at the combine, why the hell are you drafting a wide receiver at 2 overall? You might as well take the edge rusher. But that grin, Ray,
they're not taking Carter.
Myles Garrett loves someone else, and they're like best friends, and we don't know anything about it, whoever this quarterback is, or they're drafting Shedeur Sanders. And the cascading effect of that is very interesting because the Giants still don't have a quarterback.
Okay.
And they today don't seem to be getting either the draft picks.
Great segue because I want to give him his credit. John Coso has been with PFF since 2014 at John Coso 3 on X. Wanted to get his handle right. He dropped a mock draft this morning. I'm going to pull it up right now on the screen. He dropped the mock this morning, and we're just going to go through some of these spots. Can we just go? We're not going to go through every single pick, but let's go through some of these spots and just talk about the impact from free agency. In this mock, he has the New York Giants trading with Tennessee to go to number 1 to take their quarterback of choice, Cam Ward. No issue there, right, Jay? And in this trade, this is what they got. Giants got the number 1 overall pick. They gave up a first and a third rounder next year and a third rounder this year to get Cam Ward, all right? At number 2, the Cleveland Browns did take Shedeur Sanders. Took Shedeur Sanders at 2, and here's where things get interesting. That trade that Tennessee did with the Giants, man, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, fuck all that. QB, baby. Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss goes number 3.
That would be hilarious. Could you imagine if everyone's QB1 is Cam Ward and they're like, you know what we can do? We can fleece the Giants for a first rounder and we can take our QB1, Jackson Dart, out of Ole Miss to be our QB of the future. Let's just get Will Levis with some wheels and throw him out there at quarterback.
Come on, dude.
That is how we're going to do it in Tennessee. But that would be amazing theater for the draft if they traded down on draft day and they drafted Jackson Dart at 3rd overall.
So here we go. So
amazing. Who do we get, Ray?
You've got to be feeling great right now as a
I'm
Patriots
feeling better.
fan, right? Like
I'm
you're
feeling
like,
better.
oh,
I'm feeling
dude,
better.
we're going Abdul Carter.
We're favored to get Hunter right now. Heavily favored to get Hunter.
Right now, you've got a 70% Chubb right now if you're watching the draft. And it goes QB. And most of these QBs people think are average QBs at best. Like, cool, they're fine. You want to go 3 straight quarterbacks? We're the Patriots. You leave us Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, we're money. Well, unfortunately for you, y'all don't take either one. You take Will Campbell, the guard out of LSU. How would you? Jay Rich is walking off the set. He's got a jersey on that people don't like today. I'm just letting you know, people are heartbroken by the shirt you have on. I don't know.
Why? Is there a bunch of Liverpool fans in the chat?
I don't know. I don't know anything about livers or pools.
I did. What?
I don't know anything about pools or livers, but people do not like what you're wearing today for some reason.
No, people are loving it. People in the chat were already acknowledging the Carabao Cup champions. Come on, bro. Don't do that to me.
How pissed would you be? How pissed would you be if you're you're watching
this is honestly unbelievable. Like this is unbelievable. There's no way this would ever happen. If Abdul Carter is there and Travis Hunter is there, I'm fine with them taking either one. Like, but to think that they would actually take a dude who doesn't even meet the minimum threshold for arm length at 4 overall makes zero sense. You have a guy that can rush the passer. You have a guy that can play 2 ways in the NFL, and you take a guy who can't even meet the minimum threshold for arm length to play tackle. There's just this is junk. This is
man. Okay.
This is terrible.
So let's scroll down to mock a little more. Got Jacksonville going Travis Hunter. I mean, that's great for the Jags if they're able to land him at 5. I don't think he's falling there. At 6, the Raiders go Ted McMillan. A lot of opinions.
Does this guy hate Abdul Carter? Is he like an OSU fan?
Carter, I'm just the messenger here. I'm just the messenger here.
This is egregious.
Ted McMillan at 6 to the Raiders. There he goes. Abdul
Carter.
Yeah.
The Jets get fucking Abdul Carter.
The slide stops. Abdul Carter lands in New York.
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
they are dancing in the rain. I mean, they are loving how this draft played out. At number 8, the Carolina Panthers take Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. 9.
Where are you at on Mason Graham, if I can ask quickly?
DT1.
But do you think he's like, is 8 fine for him?
Yeah. Oh, I think 8's a great pick.
You just don't think you should go at 5, right? Like
I don't
people,
think you should
people
go at
had
3,
him at 5.
4. No, I think 8 is fine.
Okay.
I think 8 is fine. This would be great for Carolina. You pair him up with Derek Brown. You still need edge rushers, but you pair those two up in the middle. That's not bad at all.
It makes it easier when you have Derek Brown. Yeah,
that's not bad at all. New Orleans goes Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M, and at 10, Chicago Bears take Donovan Ezaraku. Wow, out of Boston College.
At 10?
At 10.
I don't think I've even seen him mocked in the top 20.
I think on the mock on Friday, he came off the board in the late 20s. Or I gave him to Green Bay at 23. I think Green Bay at 23 is where I had him going. Green Bay at 23.
That's 20 to 30 is usually where I see him.
Ezaraku to Chicago. This is the latest one. It's Pro Football Focus. This is the latest one. Dropped a couple of hours ago. Let's go 11. What do you think the Niners do at 11? Armand Mimbu. I like it.
They need him badly.
I like that. I like that for San Fran.
A lot of people is tackle one because
Cowboys
he can actually play tackle.
I don't know who they picked. Who do you think they took in this mock? I have no clue. I haven't even
Genty's available, right?
Genty's available.
Burden's available. Golden's available.
Let's see what they do.
Did anyone fall?
Oh, baby. I like it.
Y'all need a receiver, though. You don't need a tight end.
I like this a lot.
You don't need a tight end.
At 12 in this mock, the Dallas Cowboys take Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. You don't like it. I love it. I like it a lot,
why not just,
man.
There's just...
Dude, Dallas and tight ends are money. Dallas and tight ends have been money since
So why are you paying up? But why are you paying up? They've shown time and time again that they are to be trusted at the tight end position.
Right now,
regardless of draft capital.
BPA. This would help this offense out tremendously. I love this one, man. I love this. I love
someone that can actually play wide receiver.
Check down that.
You're staring down the barrel of fucking Paris Campbell and
no, I don't want to talk about Paris Campbell. 13, Miami. Have no clue. Kelvin Banks, O-line. I believe Dolphins fans. Joe, my girl Joe's in the chat. She said, I'd love that. What, dude, Dallas, you give Dak a tight end, he's 1,000. You give him Tyler Warren, he's 1,000-yard receiver next to CD. No doubt. No doubt. Doubt.
But I don't think it fixes their problems though. Like
no,
it's just about being able to attack all levels of the field, and they can't because they don't have another receiver.
Stop talking about the problem is at the top. The problem is Jerry Jones.
Well,
nothing's going to fix the problem except time. All right. Yeah. Miami at 13 takes Kelvin Banks, which is good. You got to keep Tua upright. Colts go Jahdae Barron out of Texas. I like that for Indy. Yep. 15, Atlanta goes Malachi Starks out of Georgia. 16, the Cardinals go James Pierce out of Tennessee.
Okay.
Man.
Will Johnson at 17 is a great pick.
This would be great for Cincinnati. Cincinnati at 17. Will Johnson. Wow. Great pick for Cincinnati.
Falcons should have taken him.
I love that. Come on, Jamie. Get out of here, Jamie. Jamie says Dallas has an elite wide receiver, Ryan Flournoy. Stop it.
Do they have whose brother did they have on their team?
Whose brother?
Who was ass. Yeah, someone's brother who's in the NFL who was ass.
I don't know. 18, the Seattle Seahawks. They upgrade. We talked about their offensive line. They go Josh Simmons out of Ohio State.
I've heard a lot of hype for Josh Simmons lately. He's been rising a little bit.
Had he not had the and it wasn't an ACL. I think it was patella injury for Simmons, but had not been for that, a lot of people think he would be the clear-cut tackle one, the OT one in this class had not been for that injury. Tampa Bay, I mocked this. I mocked this on Friday night. I think it was my favorite pick in the mock. You put Jahad Campbell in Tampa Bay. I love this. Like with Bowles, versatile off-ball linebacker to learn from Levante David. They bought him back on a one-year deal. Jahad Campbell can also rush from the edge. This would be fucking fantastic for Tampa Bay. This is a hell of a pick. I actually want Jahad Campbell in Dallas at 12. Here we go. You ready? Denver's on the clock. Dude, what would this do for Bo Nix, for this offense, for the feel and the vibe if Sean Payton got his joker and Ashton Genty? Right here at 20, Ashton Genty goes to Denver. Man.
Playing behind the best offensive line in football. At least it was last year. So probably pretty good for Ashton Genty if he ends up in Denver. He'd be the only guy there.
And then Bo Nix in the play action game? He should have one-on-one opportunities all over the field, man. One-on-one opportunities all over the field. 21, Pittsburgh. They say, hey, I've done enough of these mocks now. I know what the position. They say they need D-tackle. A lot of Pittsburgh Steelers fans want Walter Nolan, but they get Kenneth Grant in this mock at 21. The Chargers. Everybody wants the Chargers to go running back, but again, free agency has impacted what the draft is going to do. And the Chargers go edge rusher. They go Mike Green out of Marshall. The Packers go Mykel Williams out of Georgia. I like both of those picks for both of those teams. Minnesota's on the clock at 24, Jay. I don't know what they'll do, but I'm going to make a guess here.
I'm sure they'll give him a running back.
No, hell no. Got to be corner. It's going to be DB. Gray Zabel, tackle out of North Dakota State. Interior offensive lineman.
Okay.
Yep. Interior O-line, Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. Houston is on the clock at 25. I don't know. There are receivers available. I don't know who they're picking. I have not scrolled down. They've got
probably O-lineman, right?
They've got to go O-line. I guarantee. Yeah. Josh Connerly out of Oregon. There it is. Houston goes Josh Connerly out of Oregon. They've got to go offensive line to keep C.J. Stroud
upright. Anything?
Yeah, to keep C.J. 26. What do you think the Rams do? I gave them Jalen Walker, edge rusher out of Georgia. What do you think the Rams do?
Could they go linebacker?
You said linebacker?
They wouldn't go safety.
There's no linebacker to go here.
It's just Campbell?
Yeah, there's
probably someone on the D-line then. It's probably just another D-line.
You think D-line? All right, let's see. Let's see.
Maybe guard, but.
Ooh.
Oh, man. Oh, buddy.
Oh, buddy.
Colston Loveland to the Rams is very interesting because McVay doesn't use tight ends that much, but if he had a good one, he definitely would. And he would be so good in the Rams play action scheme.
Oh, my God.
He would be so good.
Colston Loveland on the Rams or Tyler Warren in Dallas? Who's tight end one?
Probably Colston Loveland on the Rams. Because I think the path to playing time is very clear.
I think it's Tyler Warren. I still think it's Tyler Warren.
But you're not. But you're completely.
He's got to earn targets.
Yes.
Devontae Adams.
Okay, but here's where you're. Okay, that's fine, but Tyler Warren has to earn targets with players that actually play his position. So at least Colson Loveland projects as a player who should probably be the starting tight end for the Rams week 1, if healthy. Yes, Tyler Warren should be the starting tight end for the Dallas Cowboys, but they do have good tight ends on the roster. So if he's not like playing 80% of snaps out the gate, you shouldn't be shocked. He's good. Fine. Like Ferg at this stage in his career in the NFL is a better tight end probably than Tyler Warren.
No.
Tyler Warren is not. Tyler Warren is a great talent, but he's not necessarily going to come in and be like this great tight end that can fill in and replace a Ferguson. I think that's fair to say. Can he get there? He will get there. But to step in day 1 and replace a tight end who was very good, who Dak Prescott really likes, I think would be a bit surprising unless he was that good. Like the path to playing time isn't as clear in my opinion. I agree with you about the targets, right? Okay. If Tyler Warren gets there, he's probably number 2.
But he's drafted 12th overall. They just understand.
I hear what you're saying, but CD wasn't the number 1 target when he got drafted.
Dallas had Genty on the board. They had Mykel Williams, Mike Green, Will Johnson, and they said, we're going to take this tight end, and you don't think that he would start?
I'm just saying the path to playing time isn't as clear as it is for Loveland. I think that's fair to say because there isn't any good tight ends on the roster in LA. It's like Higbee, who's always hurt.
All right, Baltimore's going defense. They pick at 27. They've got to go. They do not go defense. Wow.
Is Luther Burden the worst pick they could possibly make at wide receiver at this pick? How is he any different than Zay Flowers?
Baltimore at 27 takes Luther Burden, wide receiver out of Missouri. How do you feel about this one?
Him and Zay Flowers do the same things. They are essentially comparable players. So unless you're trying to run a Niners offense in Baltimore, I don't get why you would have both Zay Flowers and Luther Burden. It just seems like you're just getting 2 of the same guy. It's like having Jackson Smith and Jigba and signing Cooper Kupp.
I don't like this.
I just don't understand how that makes sense.
For Burden.
I don't even like it for Say because I think it hurts Say too.
But it's another weapon for Lamar.
Which, yeah. But Ray, the thing is that
Luther Burden picked 27th. You've got Zay. Bateman is back. Right now, you got Andrews and Likely.
When is Zay going to play, right?
You got Andrews and Likely.
Like, when's Burden going to play? Zay's still going to start. Bateman will be outside. Hopkins will work in, right?
Listen, I get what you're saying. But you also, while you may not on face value like the player team fit, he was picked in the first round at 27. So where's he going to play? Like, don't even go down that path because he's going to play. He's a 27th overall pick. He's going to play.
But you could have said that about Ricky Pearsall last year. How did that work out?
Zay plays on the outside, Jay. Zay plays on the outside.
He can play on the outside.
He's not just a slot guy. Burton's going to be in the slot. Zay operates out wide, and it's weird because he's little, but he plays on the outside. I know it does. I know your brain. Not your brain, but I know it's hard for to comprehend.
It's more so that to me, Zay's optimal position is probably in the interior, right? Work in the middle of the field. And Burden operates in a similar area. They're different players. They have different skill sets. Yeah. But I don't think they're doing.
I don't like this pick.
Again, if you take a Matthew Golden here, you see how the players all work together.
I get what you're saying. Schematically, I see that.
Yeah.
But Burden, here you go. A lot of mocks, Burden is falling out of round 1. I didn't mock him in round 1 on Friday. But he goes to Baltimore right here. I don't know about this one with some of the defensive players on the board and some of the players. Let's go 28. Let's go 28, see what the Lions go. Lions go Nick Scordon, edge rusher out of Texas A&M. Pretty common pick down here.
I've heard he's pretty good, yeah.
Scordon, pretty good value falling down the board. The Commanders go Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. I like this for Washington. Walter Nolan.
What a disgusting pick.
It's a top 20 player in my book.
So good.
Top 20 player in my book.
So good.
It's a good pick. It's a good pick by the Commanders, getting that defensive tackle, especially with Jonathan Allen getting the boot the other day. The Buffalo Bills are on the clock, Jay, and this is one of the spots every time I do a mock. I either make Bills fans real happy or I piss them off. Safety, corner.
No. Edge.
D-line, edge, right?
Has to be D-line. Maybe O-line, but probably
they don't
D-line.
do it. They go out and go get another redundant asset, in my opinion. After giving Khalil Shakir money, they draft Emeka Egbuka at 30. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it, man. You got Kincaid, Shakir. I don't like it for Egbuka. Sure, it's another weapon for Allen.
Where does he play?
I don't like
Coleman's
it,
going to start outside.
Shakir inside.
Probably going to play inside.
He's inside.
Egbuka. Do you think you force Egbuka outside?
You play him at the Z?
Because, so one of the interesting things about Egbuka, right? Do you think maybe he could go that Terry McLaurin route where, like, Terry McLaurin did play a lot inside in college, and then he played outside when he got to the NFL? Maybe Egbuka can do something similar to that. Yeah, I mean, we still got to see him run, though. That's, like, the biggest question with him is what the hell is he going to run? And is he going to run like a 4.5 or 4.6 versus
he's not running a 4.6.
Like
he's not running a 4.6. Kansas City goes Derek Harmon at 31. I think that's
nice
they need D-line.
He's huge.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Philly, I don't even want to see what they get. I'm going to scroll up slow because there are some damn good players. I bet you it's fucking Eamon Wari. Watch it be Eamon Wari. I got the position right, but the player wrong. Philly at 32 goes Xavier Watts, the safety out of Notre Dame. And the rationale, I like it, after trading C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He's got elite ball skills. He led the country in interceptions, I believe, at the safety position. I was thinking Eamon Wari, but they go Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. So that's round one.
Good play.
Hey, listen, man. I've done enough of these mocks. You know how many mocks I've done where people say it's the worst mock they've ever seen in their entire life. So I'm not going to knock my dog right here. This was from, let me give him his credit one more time, John Costco. Is that Costco?
I can't see it.
Right there.
It might be Costco.
I think it's Costco.
Well, don't emphasize the T that's not there. It's Costco.
Costco.
Yeah, Costco.
Shout out to John Costco, man. He dropped this at 5 a.m. Man, those editors getting it down. So you can check out
probably
this
scheduled
on P.
Ray, the people want to know about Dylan Sampson.
He's up at 4:30, and y'all are just shitting on my man's mock, man. But not appreciate that. Wasn't nothing else out, so we needed to talk through that. But I want to get back to the top real quick. Is that what they're doing? Is Cleveland going Shador, Jay Rich? And is Jackson Dart going this high? I know D-Bro, who's in the chat. What's up, D-Bro? D-Bro and Todd McShay pushing that Dart top 10 train. Is he? Do you really think that is the type of player you need to be trading up to take inside the top 5?
But they're not trading up. They're trading down.
Well, taking in the top 5, period.
I mean, if that's the quarterback they want. I mean, so here's the thing, Ray, that's interesting, is if you do get a first and a third, right, is what they got.
Yeah, they had first and a third. Fuck it.
Yeah, like kind of. If you don't think they're that different and you were going to take Cam Ward anyways, why not? You still have another first next year. And Ray, let's be real. Is Cam Ward going to save the Giants? Especially in that division?
I don't think any of those quarterbacks are safe. I don't think any of these quarterbacks are saving any of the teams.
You probably got a top 12 pick next year to add a weapon for Jackson Dart. You develop Jackson Dart, right? If that's a move they want to make, like, I don't hate it. I don't think it's terrible.
Man, I like Dart.
I don't agree with it.
Listen,
I want to see Dart go in the top 7.
Do you remember? Do you know Dart was throwing balls to Drake London?
Oh yeah, when he was at USC.
Yeah, man, he's been in college for a long time. He's got a lot. That right there is what I like. Experience. I mean, when I put that video out about Tech, people were like, "Is that Dart?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's Dart." Jackson Dart was the quarterback at USC along with Drake London in his final season. Now, he didn't start that final season, London's final season in 21, but he played with Drake London that season. Him, Keaton Slovis, they had another dog shit quarterback. But he's got a lot of experience, man. He's got a lot of experience.
Yeah, he still threw almost 200 passes that year.
Yeah, he was good.
Percentage went up every season. Yards went up every season. Touchdowns went up every season. Interceptions have been pretty good as well. Only 5 or 6, 3 of his 4 years. And they've gone down.
I think he's a good developmental pick. I don't know about inside the top 5, but you know what? You got to do what you got to do. If you're Tennessee, What you cannot do is go into next season with Will Levis. No matter how, you cannot go into next season with Will Levis.
Yeah.
I think this would be rich. You better hope Brian Callahan got his guy. And if they're going to give up a first, a third this year, they better be pretty much in on them. I think this would be a good move. It's good for Tennessee to try.
Yeah. Like, again, if you don't think there's that much of a difference between those guys, this is a great move. Like, great move. Because you're still getting a first and a third on top of it. Like, just getting that extra first could get you a playmaker next year.
Yeah.
Right? Or a defensive player next year. And you're still probably going to have a top pick unless Dart, is great, which, I mean, that would be a shock to everybody. But
I don't know, man. I think...
I like Callahan, though. I think Callahan did a lot of good things last year to put the team in place. We talked about the offensive line. Like, imagine Dart behind this offensive line. And he can move a little bit, too. Like, it's a good situation for a quarterback. The weapons are still a work in progress, but rather go the Bo Nix route with one good receiver and a great offensive line than a bunch of great receivers and no offensive line. Like, I think we've already hashed out that you would rather be Bo Nix than Caleb Williams as rookie quarterback. And if Tennessee can do that, then I think they're in great shape, regardless of who they
You know, we spend so much time debating the QBs. It's the fun position, right? Which QB is going to be good, which one's going to be bad. And you get, just without looking at anything, right? 2020. Here were the names in 2020. You had Tua, you had Burrow, you had Hurts, you had Jordan Love, and there was one more.
That's the other one. Herbert.
And Herbert.
That's the other one.
Herbert, great. Burrow, great. Hurts, great. Jordan Love, really good. And who was the last one?
Tua,
really good. He's
good enough.
He led the league. He's a really good quarterback. He led the league in passing yards. He's a really good quarterback. He's not
when he's healthy. Yeah, he's good.
When he's healthy, he's a really good quarterback. So 2020 was a smash. 21, Jay, awful class. Like top to bottom. It looked good. You had 5 quarterbacks inside the top 15.
Oh, that's the stinker.
You had Mac Jones, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence. How many of those? Justin Fields has survived and gotten another opportunity, but
3 of them are backups already, right?
Not very
One
good.
of them got a mega contract and isn't very good, but fine. And then you have one trying to become a starter after being a cast-off, basically.
And then look at this, 2022. Look at this.
Oh, God.
Pickett, Ritter, Willis, Corral, Zappy, Howe, Purdy, Thompson.
And Purdy's the best one by a mile. It's not even close.
What do you think, man?
I mean, Purdy's the best one, right? It's not even close.
2023, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, A-Rich, Levis, McKee, Hall, Hooker, Bennett. What do you got? What'd you get out of this class? 1.5 right now? You got 1.5 quarterbacks out of this class?
I'd say you got 1.
You got 1.5.
And I hope you got 2, but you got 1. You got C.J. Stroud. And I hope that Bryce Young can be good.
We spend so much time on this position, and every single year, they all get it wrong. Wrong. It's wrong. Because no matter how good of a prospect you are, like your environment matters, that situation, the players around you, all that shit's got to be primed up, and you have to have the requisite skill set, drive, work ethic to capitalize on it. We'll see how 24 shakes out. I'm excited about what we saw last year, but somebody's going to
No. 24 is a good draft class.
I'm not saying
did everyone hit, basically?
I mean, Nick.
Well, Daniels smashed. Williams is fine. May was good enough for the situation. Nick smashed, and Penix looks to be pretty good. So
you think all 5 of them are just going to keep going up this year? I just think
keep going up, but
somebody's got to struggle.
For sure.
Odds.
But I mean, if you end up with a Tua, and that's your worst QB, I think you got guys that are probably going to be extended in this class. I would you look at Nix is getting extended for sure. Williams getting extended for sure. Daniel's getting extended for sure. May probably getting extended unless he's really bad and goes the way of Mac Jones. And Penix, the way he's projected, probably going to be extended as well. You're looking at probably four 3 to 4 extensions at least. Maybe you get all 5 if they're all good.
I'm with D-Bro. I think the jury is still out.
McCarthy too.
I think the jury is still out. We got to see. Like, let's just be fair. And this D-Bro, and this, here's the thing. Derek Brown, shout out to Derek Brown. He is one of the biggest J.J. McCarthy truthers, and he's still saying the jury's still out. We got to see J.J. play and do it. I think he will. D-Bro thinks he will. A lot of people think he's going to do it, but we got to see J.J. We've got to see more Penix, and we've got to see a little more May and what they put around them. So as we sit here and we look at this 25 class, it's all sucks and all that. Where do they land, man? What environments and situations? And when I look at those 3 spots, the Giants, the Browns, and the Titans, I'm very skeptical of those 3 spots. I'm just very skeptical of those 3 spots.
Awful.
I'm very skeptical. You Browns fans say they just cannot get QB right ever. I'm not as in tune with Cleveland, and I know who they've had at quarterback, but
they've had a lot of quarterbacks.
Tennessee, I don't know what Cal is going to do. You know, the Giants.
Offensive line is good.
Who comes in the
Giants
coach?
Are gonna have a new staff.
The Giants are going to be attractive.
That's
going if Daboll and Shane get canned, that's going to be a sexy job. You're going to have.
Do you think Joe Brady takes that job?
Who?
And fills in for Daboll again?
Who?
Or I guess technically he didn't fill in for Daboll. Joe Brady.
I don't know, but I think that's going to be a nice spot. You got pieces on the defensive side, offensive side. If they make that, trade, they lose some capital, of course, but you've got a quarterback in place. You've got a receiver in place. You've got some defensive pieces in place. Is that the best of the situations? The NFC East fucking blows. Like, I wouldn't want to be in that division.
Yeah,
I'd much rather be in the AFC South, but we'll see. We shall see. Let's go to the chat real quick before we get out of here. To be honest, I still can see my lowly Raiders taking Sanders. Joe, I talked about this. Does this knock them out of QB territory if Sanders were to fall?
I mean,
I kind of sided with Joe.
Geno,
I was like, I could still see him taking a quarterback, but maybe it's not a high of a need or priority now. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on what they do with Geno, because Geno hasn't been extended yet. And so we'll see. We're kind of waiting for that.
Completely unrelated, but somebody says, Ray, it's been a month since I asked. Got to circle back and check again. How's Dallas feeling about that Luka trade now? Hell, they somehow bombed the Grimes. It's over. I mean, they might as well move the Mavs to another city. They legit.
They're going to Vegas, right? Just for you.
They might as well move the Mavs to another city. The only thing that can potentially save this. Did you see the report that they might forfeit games? The Mavericks.
Yeah, what is that about? Do they not have enough salary cap, basically?
Everyone's hurt. Yeah, the only thing that can save them is Cooper, them somehow getting rigged and getting the number 1 pick in the lottery for Cooper Flagg, which won't happen because he's going to San Antonio. Guarantee you they rig it for San Antonio.
He's going to the Raptors.
They will not put Cooper Flagg in Toronto. Absolutely not. That's an American blonde-haired, blue-eye. He is staying here in the US of A, baby. He is staying right here and playing in San Antonio.
We can settle for some Ace Bailey. Take some color on the team.
Ace Bailey is good. We'll
see.
See what else we got in the chat. Oh my God, Stanley. I just don't understand Stanley. And Stanley watches every show. I'll take Will Howard.
We haven't talked about Will Howard in ages.
I mean,
we don't make it that far down the board.
I'm not. Yeah.
Ray, where are you at on Jalen Milroe? We haven't talked about Jalen Milroe.
Dude, I mocked him to the Saints in round 2.
Okay.
Kellen Moore.
You want to give Kellen Moore that Jalen Hurts?
Give him developmental guy.
Can we get Jalen Milroe to Indy? I think I told you this. I want to see him go to Indy so that Steichen can get his Jalen Hurts.
Well, he has his. They're not.
Nope, he doesn't. He doesn't have his Jalen Hurts. He thought he did.
Damn sure ain't going to take another iffy,
not high,
mobile QB that is inaccurate. That ain't happening.
Really? Why? Because they didn't just sign one last week?
They got too many of them on
mobile
the roster.
inaccurate QB.
You got a white
Clearly,
one and a black
that's how
one.
they want to play, right?
We got one of each. We got one of each
but that's
flavor.
The system they want to run.
They will not.
That's the system they want to run.
They will not.
Gabriel over Milrow. I'm sorry. Gabriel is too small, man.
Stop it.
He's the same size as old GQ over here. Guy can't see past an O-line.
Get the hell out of here. All right. Let's get out of here, man. Hour and a half. Appreciate y'all pulling up. Appreciate y'all being in the building. Went through a mock. Went through the news. Talked about the bag. Let y'all know what's popping on all the channels. And y'all hung out with us this Monday. We appreciate y'all being here. Appreciate y'all pulling up, tapping in. As we said at the top of the show, Bleacher Report every single Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jay Rich will be on the channel. Jay, I might do it live from, I'll be on vacation, but we'll see if I go live with you. We'll see how old GQ's doing on the beach. But good show this week. We got a lot. Good show today. We had a lot of stuff coming this week over on the Fantasy Football channel. We'll get some shorts out, cut up this show. Appreciate everybody pulling up. I'm going to try to do a Monday mock tonight to have that queued up for tomorrow. Appreciate everybody in the building. Yes, Cold World TDE, stay blessed. Joe, I appreciate you. My girl, Jimbo, appreciate you. Johnny Manziel. Talking about Johnny Manziel.
Let's go.
How are you? He's got a good
Johnny
podcast,
football.
man. Good podcast. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all bright and early next Monday. Wake up with Ray and Jay. Y'all be easy. We out. Peace.
Peace.